Hello, welcome to Working Dragon Mystic, where we discuss real, metaphysical, and occult knowledge so that you can manifest real and tangible change in your life. This week, we're going to talk a little bit about Baneful Magick. Stay tuned. Okay, lock the doors, pull the shutters. Everybody, let's talk in a real silent voice. Just kidding. We all know I can't be quiet. But today we're going to be talking about Baneful Magick. Yes, that topic no one wants to talk about. It's just pushed over in the corner. Everybody has an opinion. Everyone has a philosophy, some good, some bad. And I think this topic might start more arguments in magic than almost any topic. But that said, we're going to talk about it anyway. Why? Because that's what we do here at Working Dragon Mystic. We talk about things. Now, Baneful Magick is a topic that has come up many times in my live streams, whether it be research and ramblings or the magical coffee hour. So I thought it important that we just sit down and we discuss it. Now, to be clear, we're just going to be discussing Baneful Magick here. We will definitely be doing videos on spells and other things that I'm sure will fall into this topic. But I felt this is a valuable video that we needed to do to go ahead and break through this wall and try and get some understanding. So first off, when you hear the term Baneful Magick, what is Baneful Magick? For the most part, Baneful Magick is any magic that deliberately causes harm to another individual. Get that? It is deliberate harm. That is your intent, is to cause harm in some way. Because of this, some people will put love spells, curses, hexes, bindings, and the like under Baneful Magick. Love spells, it depends, because depending on how the spell goes, harm may or may not be done. And the harm may or may not be intentional. In fact, rarely is love spells ever intentionally caused harm. It's the unintended harm that love spells is known for, and that's not intentional. Therefore, by intentional harm, love spells kind of get kicked out of that Baneful Magick area. Bindings. Bindings are usually done to stop somebody from causing harm, stop somebody from doing something or hurting someone else or themselves. So even though this is used against someone, again, without the intent to cause harm, we got to boot it out. Now, if you do a binding with the intent to cause harm, that's Baneful Magick. If you do a love spell, intent to cause harm, that's Baneful Magick. See, it's the intent to cause harm. Now, curses. I have seen curses that have no intent to harm, but they do complicate a person's life. They make their lives more difficult. They bug them. They irritate them. Those kinds of curses, they're not baneful. Honestly, in many ways, many magicians view them as the magical April Fool's joke. And they're also easy to undo if you know what you're doing. So yeah, magicians do often view these as April Fool's jokes. And by our definition of intent to cause harm, if a curse is not intending to cause harm, that wouldn't fall under Baneful Magick either. But if your curse is deliberately intent to cause some harm to this person and bring them that harm, yes, that would be Baneful Magick for sure. Now, why is this topic so hard for people to talk about? Well, part of that is people get real divided on whether you should use magic to cause harm at all. Magic, spirituality, and religion have become so intertwined and interconnected that people have forgotten they are actually three separate things. You can do magic without being a spiritual person, and you can be a spiritual person without doing magic. You can do magic without being religious, and you can be religious and never do magic. They are very separate things. You do not have to have any of the two to have it work. And because of this, a lot of the spiritual and religious dogma is being forced into and onto practitioners of magic. Now, those of you who follow my channel, you know I know a lot of spiritual people. I know a lot of religious people. I get along with them great, as long as they're not trying to force those beliefs onto me. I myself am neither spiritual nor religious. If I can't have some kind of tangible result or proof in the workings I'm doing, I'm not going to waste my time. I actually have to be able to yield a result from my work, or it's not. In fact, some of you know I actually got into magic to disprove it. That was my whole reason. I actually came in to completely debunk the crap out of it because I was tired of religious hokum. And magic proved me wrong, ironically. So I am grateful for what magic has given me and brought into my life. But that's just a fact. I'm neither religious nor spiritual still yet, but I do indeed practice magic. Now, Baneful Magick is one of those where you got to look at the philosophical reasons here. If you are a pacifist, if you believe that you are to not bring harm to anything in any way ever in your life intentionally, Baneful Magick's off the table. It is, as is most bindings, curses, and other things. However, that's not the case for all people. Many people believe they have the right to defend themselves. They have the right to retaliate. They have the right to protect their families, their children, their loved ones, their friends. And to that extent, yes, I would say Baneful Magick does come to the table. But you got to ask yourself, anytime you're doing any magic, whether or not you have the conviction, the true will, and the true desire to do this thing and push that energy into it. Now, a lot of people jump up and down and say Baneful Magick's horrible. It takes a lot of genuine conviction to actually do a baneful spell. It takes a lot of will and intent to manifest any spell. But humans, by and large, are culturally programmed not to want to harm each other. So, overcoming that programming with your raw conviction, knowing there's no way to turn around, is actually very, very hard to do. Some people have an easier time with it than others. This is true, but it is still very hard to do. But it does make Baneful Magick one of naturally the hardest magics to produce and do. And perhaps the multiverse designed it this way. Perhaps it wants you to truly know your convictions and where you stand before you launch these spells. Maybe it's just a coincidence to how humans are. I don't know the answer to those. But you will run into people who they're completely against it or they're completely for it. Now, you're going to ask, I'm sure, somewhere in the comments, Drake, where do you stand? I believe I have a right to defend myself, my friends, and my family. End of story. I don't enjoy doing Baneful Magick, but if you come after me, my friends, or my family, I have no problem using it. I usually use other things like bindings and something to warn people off. But if it's something drastic, something serious, something that's already brought harm to my family, I'm going to skip over the warning shots and I'm going to go straight into it. I am. That's just how I am. That is my philosophy. I do believe I have a responsibility and a duty, not just a right, to protect my family. And that is what I will do. And because of this, I do utilize Baneful Magick if necessary. Luckily, in my community, the people around here do indeed seem to love me, and they're accepting of me, my practice, my work, and yes, that goes for the whole community, even the churches. So I am not actually ever forced into having to use Baneful Magick very often at all. Now, it is true. We all know petty people. We all encounter petty people. They're out there. And one of the funniest things I've noticed is those who will seek to bring me harm or seek to hurt my family or my profession or something tend to be other practitioners who will claim Baneful Magick is wrong. And I find that a little hypocritical, but it is the case. So the big kicker with Baneful Magick, and I know I've said this, but it needs to be pushed, is you have to know where you stand on it. You have to know if you're okay using magic to defend yourself and your family and your friends. There is no correct universal answer to this. This is not a battle of good and evil, right and wrong. I mean, sure, there are people who have a spiritual path and they believe Magic should never be used to cause harm in any way ever. You might not ever want to cast magic then, because there's going to be some harm some way. Something's going to change. And if you check out the laws of magic, there's always an unintended consequence. So if you do believe magic should never be used in any way that could possibly cause harm, then you can never cast a spell, because that unintentional consequence could cause harm. So for me, I honestly approach magic, its use, as I would anything else in life, and I ask where I stand on it, what my philosophies on it are. And I do believe in freedom. I believe in individuality. I believe in self-responsibility. And I believe in the right to protect yourself, your home, your property, and your family. And because of that, yeah, Baneful Magick is on the table. Because when it comes to my family, my wife, my sisters, my mother, even my brother, I will use everything in my ability and at my disposal to defend them. Same thing with my friends. If you're close enough to me that I call you friend, you can bet when the shit hits the fan, I'll go to bat for you. And that's where I stand on that. And because of that, yes, Baneful Magick is something that I do think is doable. Now, to that, let's add in the caveat, excessive force. Ooh, that's a scary word, ain't it? What is that? Well, again, that's where the magician has to decide. Now, I don't think just because someone wrongs me, hurts me or something, and I need to lay down the hammer on them, that doesn't mean throw out a death curse of some crap. There is you've got to weigh it. There's a balance in everything. The dragons have taught me this, and they have taught me this very, very well. So you have to use the correct amount, in my opinion. Now, I'm sure there's people out there that's like, I don't care. You screw with my family, I kill you. Okay, fine. You want to use magic that way. That's for you. I'm not going to pass judgment one way or the other. I just wanted this video to talk about what is Baneful Magick and to get some of you thinking about where do you stand on these concepts. Now, I am going to say this. Do not go down in the comments yelling, bitching, griping, telling others what they should do. You want to have an intellectual discussion, calm, peaceful, share philosophies. That's fine. But don't come in here with your high and mighty, this is how you do it, you're wrong, you're going to hell. Look, I don't care who you are, what practice you come from, or what background. This channel, I want peaceful discussions. You drop those comments, I will delete them, and if you continue it, you'll be banned from the channel. So let's keep everything civil here, because this is a hot red button topic within the magical community. And I contemplated not doing it. Many of you know in the stream, when I get asked the questions, I worry about how that's going to go, because we could have something fire up right there. But I actually do truly believe that 99% of my audience is intellectually intelligent enough and mature enough that this topic will not be an issue. So we went ahead and done the video on it, and we wanted to discuss this. Because knowing who you are is one of the key points of the laws of magic. And this is really part of Baneful Magick. You have to have that self-knowledge, knowing who you are, where you stand. You can't just avoid life and topics and where you stand on issues. You need to know. In fact, I'm wanting to do a book review on a book called Modern Bushido. I absolutely love this book because it does help one dive into themselves and meditate on different things and different topics on where they stand, so they can truly know where they stand and who they are and what they stand for. Personally, I think more than left-hand path, right-hand path, white magic, black magic, I don't care. I think the most important thing for a magician to know is who they are, where they stand, and what they stand for. If the magician knows that, they know how to act, and they know how to act properly, and they will sleep well at night, and they will live a good life, in my honest opinion. Anyways, I know this isn't like my normal videos. This has been more of a kind of a, hey, Working Dragon Mystic Drink is on a rant. But I apologize. But I do think understanding the concept of Baneful Magick is important. And since Baneful Magick simply is the definition of magic with intent to cause harm, that's kind of a hard video to do. So I did want to touch on some of those philosophical concepts. Now, what I would do if I was you is I would sit down with your journal, I would meditate, and I would figure out where you stand on these questions, and I would try to answer them, and I would meditate. If you have gods or deities, speak with them, as I think they will be very instrumental in helping you understand your viewpoints and actually where you stand on these things. Now, let's say you are more of a pacifist person, you don't think magic should be used to harm anyone for any reason at all. I support your decision with that. I actually personally find that to be a beautiful thought process and a beautiful idea. Me personally, I don't foresee the world ever allowing that in the entirety, nor do I see the multiverse allowing that. But that's me personally. I will support your decision to do that. I will ask that you don't try to force it on myself or anyone else. But for those of you who do take the more kind, pacifist side of this Baneful Magick discussion, thumbs up to you all, because that is definitely a hard stand to take. And in many cases, I think that stand is harder to take than willing to strike back. But I do support you all. I'm not saying you all are wrong in doing that in any way. I do admire that stance. But I do believe just as the world needs healers and the world needs peacemakers, the world does need fighters and warriors as well. And for that, you got people like me who stand in to fill that gap. It's all part of that multiversal balance that the dragons keep telling us about as we work with dragon magic. And it's also part of the everyday natural cycle that I keep hearing about from the Norse entities, as well as many other entities across the multiverse. Anyways, I hope you've all enjoyed this video. If you do have any more questions on Baneful Magick, join me Friday and Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for our live streams, Research and Ramblings of a Mage, where I discuss a bit of the research and what I got going on, and the Magical Coffee Hour, where we get together, we answer questions, we have some fun, we drink coffee. It's just a good time, a good way to end the weekend and get ready to start the week. Also, if you're interested, check out our Discord. We have a wonderful community built up. I'll make sure there's a link in the video below. And until next time, I'm Drake. This has been Working Dragon Mystic. I'll see you next time.